Welcome to Azeroth United, a weekly podcast about World of Warcraft. My name is Denethar, and I am your host.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It's Friday night in Azeroth, and we have a great show lined up for you. It's actually Friday afternoon. It's Black Friday, so happy Black Friday, everyone. It's the day after Thanksgiving here in the United States. I'm sure people all over the world, though, can take advantage of the Black Friday deals that are available at all of your online retailers. I don't know exactly how that works. Although I have seen something that a lot of the deals going on this year are not that great. Anyway, that's not the point. We're not here to talk about Black Friday. We're not here to talk about Amazon or whatever other retailers you might be shopping at. We're here to talk about World of Warcraft. And I'll tell you, we have a lot of news that I want to cover. And so here's the thing. The game has been in kind of this weird state lately where there's a lot of news trickling in, but nothing big, like no big stories. So I started working on this episode at the beginning of the week, writing things out, some notes and trying to get an idea of how I wanted to approach this topic, because in the spirit of Thanksgiving, which we do celebrate here in the United States, I wanted to talk about what I am thankful for, the WoW edition. It's not just necessarily things in game, but I'll go over kind of what I'm thankful for. And because I do feel like it's something that everyone needs to reflect on, at least at some point in their life, is what am I actually thankful for? What do I appreciate in my life? So we'll get into all that. Plus, like I said, the news has been trickling in. Nothing big, except that Wednesday afternoon, my daughter showed up. Her and her boyfriend or fiance drove in from Virginia, where they live, and they came to visit for Thanksgiving. And so we weren't expecting them until Thanksgiving, but they showed up a day early. So we were sitting around the table having lunch, and lo and behold, I get a message on my phone that the release date for Midnight is out. So, needless to say, that could have taken up the entire episode, but we'll hit it really quickly. And then what's going to happen is for the next few weeks, we have a lot of news coming hot and fast. So things are going to be a little bit weird. I do want to get back to some of the other topics that I've been working on, and some of the interviews that I have been kind of pushing off because of the technical difficulties that I've been having. But I'll get to all that stuff next month. But for now, this is what we're doing. So that's a long intro, so I'm sorry. If this is your first time ever listening to this podcast, I apologize. This is not how the intros normally go. I normally just jump in and start talking about WoW. But there was a little bit of a business that we had to take care of first. So anyway, that's what's going on there. And so, yeah, like I said, we got a bunch of news, Midnight release date, all of that stuff. And then, like I said, we'll slow it down and we'll talk about the what I'm thankful for. And maybe you can reflect on what you're thankful for and leave it to me, comments on the video, or post it on the Discord. If you want to join the Discord, you can go to AzerothUnitedPod.com and jump into the Discord there. It's been a little quiet. I think everybody's busy dealing with family and Thanksgiving and all that. Since most of my listeners are in the United States, I will say, but there are plenty of you who are not. So for those of you who are not, I apologize for all the Thanksgiving themed discussion in this episode. But I'm an American, so it's, I think I'm the center of the world because that's what all Americans do. Anyway, all right, let's talk about World of Warcraft. Last week in WoW, I started doing remix. My warrior is up to 330 versatility now. I mean, she's just smacking the crap out of everything. It's great. The Death Knight is still working up there, 650, 660, and 36% versatility. We're at the end now, so it's time to go through and really start burning through some of these raids and get the bronze and make sure I'm checking all the boxes, because I don't feel the need to buy every single thing in the game. I'm not a completionist when it comes to transmog and mounts and pets and toys and all these things, but there are certain things that I do want. And since the sets are armor specific and not class specific, I want to make sure I get them because they can cover a larger range of classes than you would if you were getting them natty. So yeah, that's all I did in Remix. Just doing some raids, running some Antorus. It's fun. Now that everyone knows how to do Antorus, it's actually really easy. You can burn through it pretty quickly. People know to spread out for Anar, and the one fight, and I can't remember the guy's name, the guy that flies back and forth across the bridge. We always lose everyone on that fight, but what are you gonna do? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Remix has been it's been fun. Like I said before, this isn't as exciting as the Mop Remix was, because that was that weird power game that was like, this is gonna keep going and we're getting more and more powerful. Legion Remix, it's like you're done. You get 999 verse, you're done. There's no more power to get. It does feel a little weird for a unlimited power game mode, but that's okay. We'll give it to Blizzard this time. I think they are experimenting with this a little bit more. If we do have another remix, I hope that they've learned lessons from both and they give us something better. Although I'm not sure that we need another remix at this point. I think that maybe if we're going to do 18-month expansions, maybe we just don't do a remix. Maybe like we have the Turbulent Timeways coming up. 10 weeks of Turbulent Timeways, maybe that's good enough. I don't know. We'll see. All right. The other thing that I did last week is the news about the Burning Crusade Classic Anniversary Edition came out, when the pre-patch is going to hit. We still don't know when the actual launch is going to be, but we do have an idea about the pre-patch, or we know when the pre-patch is going to be, and we have some ideas based on last time and what Blizzard has been doing recently. 3 weeks sounds about normal for what Blizzard have been doing. 3 to 4 weeks. So I suspect we'll be at 3 weeks. Maybe 4. We'll see. But regardless, I got really excited. And I haven't really done much with my classic characters since the guild fell apart. And I talked about that last week. That I quit raiding, and then a few months after that, once people started getting into Nax and the game actually gets difficult and the cost of raiding becomes really prohibitive, people started dropping out. And I get it. It makes sense. That's not always what everybody likes. They like raiding in the beginning of the expansion, not towards the end so much, especially in vanilla. Anyway, but I got excited because I was like, we're going to Outland, baby. This is going to be awesome. So I logged onto my hunter. I started running around doing some stuff, and I was like, I need an alt. I need another character that I can play. So my warrior, I left him at 40. And so I thought, well, I'll start playing the warrior again. So I started playing the warrior again, and it was fine. Playing a warrior in regular ass vanilla, like just plain old vanilla, is not as fun. Like leveling a warrior. Playing a warrior at endgame is fun, but leveling the warrior is not fun because you die a lot. So I started trying to get things set up, and then I realized I do have 2 accounts. So if I have something that's a little more difficult, I can bring my hunter over and have him just shoot stuff. I don't even need to join a group. I can just start attacking a mob and just shoot it with the hunter. Dead. So I did that a little bit, but that's not very fulfilling, right? That doesn't feel good to have another character helping your other character do stuff. It's like, what am I even doing here? So I thought, well, I'll run some dungeons. So I did Scarlet Monastery, which was fun. That one is really fun to tank because you can go in there. The pulls are really clear. There's some patrols you can grab. That one's fun. And then I did Oldemon. And Oldemon's not fun to pull because you go in there and it's like, all right, here, pull this 7-pack. And I guess the idea was that we were supposed to be crowd controlling these mobs, but nobody wants to crowd control anymore because it's a pain to crowd control in vanilla. Crowd control didn't get easier until Burning Crusade, when more classes had it and you could work through it a little bit better. So yeah, Oldemon is kind of a bear to tank. No pun intended there. And but I did it. We finished. We killed Arcadis. I was a little touch and go there because our group was a little low level, and Arcadis is, I think he's 47 or 48 or something like that. And I was the highest. I was 44. Everyone else was 40, 41, 42. But it was fun, and we had a good time. And that type of dungeon run reminds me of why I love vanilla WoW so much. not just classic, not, Burning Crusade, Wrath, whatever. Vanilla WoW, you go into these dungeons and the game doesn't apologize for anything. It just puts you in there and says, I don't know, figure it out. And you do. You have to go in there and just figure it out. And sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes you go into a dungeon and you're trying to figure it out with the group and it's not fun. This group that I ran Ultimon with, we had 2 priests and 2 rogues and me, a warrior. So the rogues did a lot of tanking. The shadow priest did a lot of healing and a lot of pulling threat too, because what would happen is I'd go in, I'd hit one target, put a sunder on him, switch to the next target, put a sunder on him. The shadow priest was like, first target, I'm going all out. I am going to blast this target into oblivion, which of course is going to pull aggro pretty quickly. He's a shadow priest. So the mob would run halfway across the room because the shadow priest thought, well, I need to stand as far away as possible. That way the mobs have to run all the way to me and the tank can't taunt them. So I'm running across the room trying to get these mobs off of the shadow priest. And that's, to me, that's the fun of vanilla WoW. You go in there, you do this. The game doesn't hold your hand through any of this stuff. You just have to figure it out, and it's fun. So I had a good time with that. I did do a Razorfen Downs too, but that one's not fun. I don't know that I've ever done that and thought, wow, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. It's always, well, that's completed. I completed that task. It's over. I'm ready to move on. So, yeah, that's where I am now. So I'm working on building up the quests for Zul'Farrak, and thankfully there are still a lot of people leveling in Anniversary, so it's easy to get a group for these things. I think I have all the quests. I may need one more. But yeah, I'm having a good time. It's fun. You go in there. Most people are really friendly and polite. You still get people who run by you and pop you with Mark of the Wild or Power of Fortitude or whatever. And it's nice. There's a connection with other people that you get in Classic, especially Vanilla Classic, that you just don't get in Modern WoW. I don't care how much fun you're having or how friendly you are with people. There's this sense of connection that you get in that first early version of the game that just, I don't know that it doesn't exist in other versions, or if people aren't willing to do it, but whatever it is, it's something special. It's magic. That's what it's magic. So yeah, I really love Classic WoW. What I hate about Classic WoW is when you get to the end game, you get through Blackwing Lair and you start doing this. Well, we've got to really grind out these world buffs, and you have to have your flasks, and you have to have all your potions. You have to have all this stuff on you, and you've got to have all your different buffs. I get it. You want to make sure that you're successful. That's fine. But when you're spending 100 gold per run of a raid, what are you doing? We're not having fun anymore. You're just trying to check boxes, right? You're just trying to parse and show up on a log somewhere. Do you know how much fun it is to go into these raids with no world buffs and minimal flasks and potions and just bang it out? That's fun. People are doing shots and you're having a good time. Your tank is wasted, right? You got a rogue that's stoned. That's a fun raid. I don't know why it is that we have to min-max the fun out of it. Because going in there and doing, even if it's a sober raid, that's fine. You could be sober raiding and still have a good time. Everybody gets in Discord, you all talk, you have a good time. Some of those bosses are easy without world buffs. Some of those bosses are easy without world buffs and like 20 people. You could kill Lucifron with 20 people and no world buffs, no problem. Right? All you have to do is make sure you have someone to get rid of the curse and the magic, and you're good. So have a couple mages, a couple priests, and some paladins, and you're done. Druid, maybe one druid. I don't know. I just think I still love Classic WoW the most. It's the best for me, but it's not always the most convenient because, yeah, when I was going to go do that group for Ultimon, which was the last one that I did a couple days ago, it took me a while to get a group together. I got into one group and they were like, we're going to do all the outside quests. Well, I'd already done them all because usually when you get into a group, nobody wants to do those. Well, the group leader in this group wanted to do them. So I thought, okay, we'll give this a try. So we go in there. Well, he's a arms warrior, just like I am, except I signed up as a tank. So I'm ready to tank, and he's charging in from mob to mob. As soon as I go in to attack the mob that he's targeting, he runs off to a different mob. And I thought, this is not going to work out. This is not the group that I want to be in. So I left that group, got into a different group, the Shadow Priest and Rogue group, and finished it. But the point is, you have to set aside several hours to do a dungeon in Classic. I mean, you could do it in 45 minutes, but that's if you have a pre-made group. If you're building a group, somebody's in the wetlands, somebody's in Darnassus, you got to bring everyone over. It takes a while, and getting everything so you can't be like, I've got 45 minutes. Let me go knock out Uldaman real quick. It doesn't work that way. You can do that in Modern WoW. You could do that. You could say, I'm going to knock out a couple dungeons. It's time walking this week. I'll knock out a couple time walkings. Not in vanilla, not in Classic. You have to commit. I'm doing this now, and it's going to take me this long, and that's just the way it is. So, is that better? I don't know if it's better. I like it better. So I guess it's better for me, but maybe it's not better for you. So anyway, that's what I did last week in World of Warcraft. I had a good time, and yeah, there you go. So, all right, we're going to move on to the news. No forum posts of the week this week. I am still looking into getting my my new voiceovers, but as a couple people mentioned on the Discord, I need to get somebody Scottish to do it so that they can get kind of the same vocal accent in there. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, no forum post of the week this week. And it's Thanksgiving, and I haven't really been doing a whole lot of just browsing the web. I'm cooking and, socializing with family and doing stuff and having a good time, but not really spending as much time on WoW as maybe I normally do. So anyway, let's get on to the news.
It's time for the news.
In Blizzard news, so of course the big news of the week is the announcement for the Midnight release, March 2nd, 2026. There was a lot of fuss on the interwebs, on Twitter and a couple of other places, where Blizzard announced it as 3.2.26. And of course, anybody who's not from pretty much America is going to be like, wait, is it February 3rd or March 2nd? Which of course it's March 2nd, but Blizzard being an American company just thinks in those ways. And it would have been easier to just say March 2, 2026 or something like that. Just avoid having any confusion, but they didn't do that. And so here we are, but it's March 2nd, 2026. It's a Monday, keeping in line with other releases. They do it on Monday, and I think it's 3 p.m. Pacific time on Monday afternoon, March 2nd. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. And since this is a live release, this isn't patch day, so everything is going to be in the game already. Patch 12.0.2 will be in there at some point. We don't know exactly when, but it'll be in there. So there's always the don't take patch day off from work. And while I do normally agree with that, because this is a live release day, this is an expansion launch, the game will be live and it'll just click over. So if you are thinking, I might want to take that day off work, if you live on the East Coast, you don't need to worry too much about it because the game will release at 6 o'clock. If you live in Europe, it's going to be at like midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning or something, which sucks. But if you're on the West Coast, it's going to hit in the afternoon. So maybe see if you can take half the day off and just leave early. Or just jump in afterwards. We don't know when the early access release is going to be. And some people are calling that the true release. I don't know if that's necessarily what I would say, but it is expected that it'll be probably on Friday, the 27th of February. But again, we don't know. Blizzard might do. Last time I think they did it on Thursday. So I guess we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do, but we don't have word yet on exactly when that's going to be. That'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. But having the expansion release date does give us a little bit more visibility into the roadmap for the next 4 months. So going into December, we have 2 big releases in World of Warcraft. We have patch 11.2.7, which is the final content patch for the War Within. It's called The Warning. And it's going to include player housing early access for people that pre-purchased Midnight of any version. So if you've purchased Midnight, even the base version, the $50 one, you'll get housing on December 2nd or December 3rd, depending on how long this takes for the servers to come up. So that's just in a couple days. And by the time you listen to this, it might be tomorrow. I know a lot of people listen to this on their way to work or things like that. You pop it in on the car, you just jump on your Bluetooth. And so if you're listening to this on Monday, housing releases tomorrow. So, but yeah, Tuesday, December 2nd, probably late into the evening, because that is a patch day release. So if you are concerned about, oh, should I take the day off work? Do not take the day off work. The servers will not be up until probably 3 o'clock Pacific time, if not later. Sometimes they go even later than that. So yeah, I wouldn't take the day off work. I would jump in as soon as you get home, jump into housing. Hopefully the servers are up and start building your house. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm still a little cool on housing right now. I'm like, I don't know how much I'm gonna interface with this. I might just build a basic house, and yeah, I think that might be it. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll get into it. But so far, I haven't been impressed. The system itself feels too clunky and too cumbersome for me to really enjoy it. So, yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes. Anyway, so yeah, housing releases with patch 11.2.7 on December 2nd. On December 9th, we're going to get the release of Mists of Pandaria Classic Phase 3. That's the Throne of Thunder. So that's going to be the Isle of Thunder, the Isle of Giants, new scenarios, Legendary Cloak questline. We'll do a whole episode on that in a couple weeks, the day before it comes out or the day it comes out, and we'll talk about everything that's being released with Phase 3. So those are the releases for December. And then, of course, we have Christmas and New Year's, which always kind of, I think Blizzard just closes down over that 2-week period. So probably from like the 22nd of December until the 2nd of January, they're just going to have their offices closed. And then obviously the weekends. So they'll still have the operations team, but there won't be any development, more than likely, over that time period. So going into January, we're going to get the Burning Crusade Classic Anniversary Edition pre-patch. So that's going to be the pre-patch that will introduce the new talent systems for the Burning Crusade, the Blood Elf and Draenei races. So Horde can play Paladins and Alliance can play Shamans. And I think that's it. And then, of course, the Opening the Dark Portal event in the Blasted Lands. So that's all coming on January 15th. Now, from there, it's all speculation until we get to the midnight release on March 2nd. So probably the midnight pre-patch will be January 27th. Blizzard have been doing 5-week pre-patches for the expansions. The last few have been 5 weeks. I think since Battle for Azeroth, it's been a 5-week pre-patch pretty consistently. So if we are relying on that, then January 27th is when the pre-patch will launch for midnight. And so that gives us, it's not even 2 months from now. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. So it's going to be the new, I don't know if we're getting the new Demon Hunter spec. I think the Demon Hunter spec and the Harroneer will both launch with Midnight. So I'm not actually sure what's going to launch with the pre-patch other than the new Apex talents, which we won't be able to access. I think because you can use them, but you're going to sacrifice other things. So you're just adding talent points. So I don't know. It's weird. We'll see what they end up doing, what the pre-patch contains, but that's January 27th, probably. We don't know for sure. The Burning Crusade launch date, we don't know. But again, if we're going based on the past and some speculation there, if we say 4 weeks, then we can assume a February 12th launch date for the Burning Crusade Classic Anniversary Edition. So that's the actual Outlands, 1 to 70 content, and yeah, that's pretty much all the. It's gonna be phase 1, so it'll be Karazhan, Gruul's Lair, and Magtheridon's Lair. All the dungeons minus the Magister's Terrace, which won't come until like phase 4 or whatever. But yeah, so that's a big release. But again, we don't know. That's speculation. It could be earlier. It could be February 5th. If Blizzard sticks to what they did last time, which was 2 weeks, it'll be January 29th. But I really hope they don't do that. And yeah, so there you go. So that's what's coming up. Now, again, like I said, midnight early access, probably February 27th, maybe February 26th. We don't know. But again, that's speculation. But since the game will launch on March 2nd, and Blizzard have been giving us 2 weeks for preseason preparations, that means Season 1 of Midnight will likely start on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. So, yeah, that'll be fun. And we'll get in there and start running Mythic Plus with the new no combat add-ons systems, the new damage meter, the new DBM replacement, basically the new weak ores replacement, and the new plater replacement. So yeah, and I just saw something a few minutes ago that came through on Wowhead that I guess weak ores is doubling down. They're like, we're not updating weak ores for Midnight. Screw you, Blizzard. So the add-on war continues. Those so far the only 2 major add-on developers that have decided not to develop for Midnight are LVUI and weak ores. We'll see if anyone else takes that up. I think most major add-ons are going to go the cosmetic route, where they are going to take the information Blizzard is giving them and just make it look a certain way, because that's really all they can do. They can't change the information. They can't choose what information to display. They can only get the information from Blizzard. So they can only change the way it looks, I guess, which we still don't know how Blizzard is going to handle this going forward. There might be more changes in the future. There might not. I feel like Season 1 of Midnight is going to be a little rocky, but we'll see how it goes. So that's what's coming over the next 4 months. Like I said, there's a lot of speculation in there, but I feel like it's pretty educated guesses at this point. So we'll see when all of these things get released. But yeah, that's what we got. So, all right. All right. In other news, we have the little Ashlee pet that is available from the Blizzard store. So this is a little weird how they're doing it. It looks like there are items that you can buy from the stores, like apparel, hats, sweatshirts, t-shirts, jackets, that sort of thing, or items like the replica Ashbringer or the replica Judgment set, armor set that they have. If you buy one of those items, you'll get the pet in game as a bonus, I guess. Which seems kind of weird if you were going to buy that stuff anyway. I don't know. I don't know that anyone's buying something because they're like, oh, I really want that pet. I better go buy a t-shirt or a snapback cap. But it's there. It's available. I mean, some of the stuff on the Blizzard store is cool. It would make a great Christmas present for that World of Warcraft player in your life. But yeah, I don't know that anyone's doing it specifically to get the pet. So it's a weird promotion, but it's there and it's available for you if you are interested in doing so. So check that out on the Blizzard store. I will put the link to purchases in the show notes, but I don't really expect that anyone's going to go and purchase things for the pet. So, all right, let's move on. In classic news, so we have the Burning Crusade Classic Anniversary Edition that is coming in a few weeks, or I guess a few months at this point. And so Blizzard has talked about the arena changes that they are doing for the Burning Crusade. And we didn't talk about this last week with the big TBC episode, so I wanted to run through this part real quick because it is important for people who are interested or curious about participating in Arena once TBC Classic comes around in February-ish or whatever. So Blizzard says, during the original Burning Crusade expansion, it felt good to make a team that started at 1,500 and throw together some people to participate in 10 games to receive points each week without having to climb back up from 0. With Burning Crusade Classic Anniversary Edition, we're interested in bringing that team's feeling back by encouraging players to participate in the system more than ever before. However, as we lean into the feeling of teams, we want you to be able to play with whomever you like, without requiring you to make a team, so arena points earned are still based on your individual rating. Each character's rating now starts at 1,500 instead of 0. Once per week, per character, you can pay gold to reset your rating back to 1,500. This is only possible if you are below 1,500 currently. Ratings above 1,500 cannot be reset. The gold will vary based on your team's bracket, and each bracket has its own weekly reset. So what this will do, essentially, is it makes it so that if you get onto a team and your team stinks and your rating goes down, you can pay it once a week to take you back up to the baseline, which is 1,500, and you can do that. So, I mean, I didn't do arena in Burning Crusade. I didn't do arena until Wrath. I think it was the first time I did arena. I know a lot of people really love arena, and I have done it occasionally, but this is just an interesting way of solving this problem of having to join a team, and then if your teammates aren't available, you can't run arena. This way you can go into a different team and your rating is personal, so you can go do stuff on your team and you're going to get better rewards. Or if you get onto a team with somebody and they're a loser and you're rating tanks, then you can just reset it back up to 1500 and you're good to go. So it helps out casual players more, I think. High-end players aren't really going to be affected by this. They're going to be at a high rating anyway, so it's not really going to bother them. But the lower tier players, if I wanted to do arena, this would be great for me, because this would really affect me and my type of gameplay. So that's great. It's what it is. We'll see how this plays out, but I think this is good. I think this is a good change by Blizzard. They're doing a lot of good things for Anniversary, and I think that some of those might be changes that they are looking at for Classic Plus. Season of Discovery is over, so really their only test bed right now is Anniversary. So yeah, I think that's good. All right, let's move on to the War Within. We have a couple of things that we want to talk about there. The December 2025 trading post has been announced. So yeah, this one is interesting. So there's a couple of snowy, icy themed weapons on there. You got your Christmas themed transmog weapons, which I've kind of dismissed in the past and then went and bought anyway. I'll probably change my transmog this week. So I can have the Christmas present. It's like a two-handed mace. So I'll probably put that on. There's two new mounts that are available, or one new mount and one returning mount. So it's the Kalawak Crest Horn, which is going to be 500 Trader's Tenders, and the Reigns of the Soaring Skyfox, which is a returning mount, and that's 750 Trader's Tenders. There are 3 ensembles: the Squall Brace attire and the Nobles Winter Collection, and then you have the Sky Witch's attire, which is returning. I think those first 2 are both new. So yeah, there's actually some really good stuff on the trading post this time, especially if you like the more icy, snowy themed looks. This would be great for you. Like I always say, the trading post is great to go and check out that maybe 1 or 2 things that you really want. Some months you go there and you buy 12 things. And so I don't feel like I need to buy out the trading post. I've got to have all these. I only buy the things that I really like. And I just save my tendies for those months where there's like 12 things on here. There's 2 mounts that I really desperately want. I have the tendies to do it. So I don't feel the need to spend on things just because. So yeah, for me, I think I'm at like 3,000 tendies on each account. So it's not too bad. And then the Traveler's Log reward for December will be the Jeweled Sapphire Scarab, which is a really cool looking scarab mount. Yeah, I really like this one. If you look at the article that Blizzard posted, I have a screenshot of it. It's a cool looking mount. So yeah, I mean, you'll get it for free as long as you're completing activities in game. So and honestly, you could do all remix and get this mount. So I'm just saying it's not hard to get. So there you go. That's the Traders Post and Traveler's Log reward for December. Sometimes it's cool when you get a mount, and even if it's not a mount that you really love, it's a free mount. So that just goes to your collection, adds another number to your mount total, so you can get a higher achievement. So that's not too bad. When it's a pet or like a weapon transmog, it's kind of like, unless you really like that. But yeah, I'm just like, this mount isn't great, but it's a free mount, so you can't really complain. All right. A couple more things that I wanted to talk about with regards to Midnight. So first off, the pre-launch test that was last week, they rescheduled it, and then they rescheduled it again. They said, due to unforeseen issues, we are forced to delay today's test. We will reschedule this test for early December. So watch for that. This is the Play with the Blues pre-patch test. I'm not exactly how sure that goes, how that goes, because I've never done one of those events, but I guess you can play with Blizzard people if that's a thing that you're interested in. So yeah, that's going to happen sometime in early December. They didn't say when. I think they have some logistical issues they're trying to work out. And this might be why we don't have a pre-patch launch date yet, because they're like, well, we've got this problem and we kind of need to solve it before we can announce the pre-patch. But if you announce the game release, I mean, you kind of have to hit a deadline. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. So that's coming up in probably in a week or so. I'm guessing. I have no idea. There's two things that Blizzard have changed. There's actually three things. I talked about the damage meter last week, where Blizzard are trying to get feedback on the damage meter, and then they're going to let us know how they're going to fix that and change that. Two other things that they have done already that they've made those changes. The first one is the reduced transmog cost. Now, there was a lot of brouhaha about how expensive the transmog was. Oh, it's going to cost 800k gold to unlock all the transmog slots. It's not going to be per warband, so that's per character. So if you have 10 characters, that's 8 million gold, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. There was a lot of frustration and complaining. And I get it. Transmog is the true end game of WoW for a lot of people, so that makes sense. And Blizzard finally addressed it, and they've said, hello, I've got some quick updates on the development and design of the new transmog feature. First off, we're working on making it so that outfit slots are warband wide rather than per character. So that's right off the bat. They've already said they were going to do that, and so they've made that change. We're also continuing to adjust pricing, including reductions to the cost of set outfits. So if you're not familiar with the way the new transmog system works, basically right now, if you want to transmog something, you get on your transmog mount or you go to the transmog vendor and you say, my gloves are ugly, I'd like to put these cool paladin gloves on. So you choose the gloves, you click apply, and it transmogs your gloves to your new appearance. What this is going to do is you can set an outfit. You can say, here's my cool paladin set. Here's my walking around my house set, my PvP set, my walking around the city set, whatever. You can have a bunch of outfits that you pre-build. And what you do is you transmog that outfit in the interface. So you save it and it costs gold like you would as if you were transmogging it in the moment. The reason that this is such a big deal is because once you've saved that outfit, you can apply it anytime you want and you'll get that appearance and you won't have to pay more gold. So if you create it one time and save it, you're done. So for people who have 4 or 5 different transmog outfits that they cycle through on a regular basis, this is great. For the people who like to change their transmog 50 times a year with different outfit options, it starts to get really expensive because every time you change that outfit and save it, it costs you transmog. So if you make a change and you save it and then you go, I don't like that change, and then you change it to something else, you have to pay both times, right? Just like you would normal transmog. The problem is these outfits were costing somewhere like 5,000 gold to save the changes to them, which is a lot more than you're paying for transmog right now. That's a full outfit change. Obviously, if you're only changing one slot, it's less, but still, it was very expensive. And people were really frustrated on top of the 800,000 gold to unlock all of these slots for your outfits, because you could have up to 20. So Blizzard addressed all of this. They said, we're planning to reduce the cost to save a full outfit by 60%, by about 60%. We will significantly reduce the cost to unlock slots. As in the current public beta, the unlock cost of outfit slots will increase depending on how many you've already unlocked, that's what they do. It's like the first one is 100, and then 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, whatever. I forget the exact numbers, but it goes up. The more you unlock, the more expensive each progressive one is, which is great because people like me who maybe only have 5 to 10 outfits, I'm not going to spend as much. But someone like my wife or my daughter, they'll probably unlock all the outfit slots. So what they said is the overall cost to unlock outfit slots will be reduced by about 80%. So I didn't bother doing the math because these numbers could still change, but 80% of 800K is a significant drop in the overall cost, and it's warband accessible. So you'll be able to, once you do it one time, you'll have all your slots. And then finally, we've seen a lot of feedback from players who feel they need the extra flexibility of a lot of slots. So they're increasing the total number of outfit slots from 20 to 50. So you could have 50 outfit slots, set up as many transmogs as you like. They're putting this into the next beta build, which is currently expected to arrive on December 3rd. So that'll be really cool. The warband wide effect will not hit until a later date, but this is all beta, so nothing's going to work correctly anyway. But this is a really cool change because this makes transmog affordable and makes it not a hideous time and gold sink that it was previously. So yeah, this is great. I'm really excited about this. This to me is one of the best new features that we're getting in Midnight. Honestly, it's so good. I'm so happy about the transmog. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then the final thing that they have updated, they are improving the nameplates. There was a video that Quasi did about the nameplates where he was showing how the nameplates would cycle through and go actually below the name of the character or the NPC that they were showing. This was in particular on Algathar Academy for the tree boss where he has all little saplings running around. And so there's a lot of nameplates, and so they were moving in very weird and unexpected ways, which makes it very hard to predict what you're going to do on a high key. You have to go in, you have to choose a specific mob or do a specific thing. If the nameplates are moving all over in an unpredictable way, it makes it really difficult to be specific in how you're doing that. So what Blizzard said is, we've made further improvements to nameplate stacking that is now live on beta. These changes should prevent nameplates from going below the unit they are attached to, and they should no longer shuffle in position in the stack as often. So they are still going to move, but not as often. Fine. We are aware of another issue where units in separate packs will sometimes have their nameplates overlap, and we'll be addressing this soon. Thank you for your feedback, and please keep sharing your thoughts on stacking nameplates in the feedback thread. So again, people are giving feedback and making complaints and saying, hey, Blizzard, this is not going to work this way. And Blizzard goes, all right, how about now? And everyone goes, all right, that's a little better, but can you change this one thing? And then Blizzard goes, okay, how about now? And this is how it's going to go through the entire beta cycle. Once we get to Midnight, they're going to start pushing things off. Say, okay, this is going to be a .5 update. This is going to be a .7 update. Because once you're in a live game, you can't just do these updates whenever. So the goal here is to get as many things working as possible and ignore the little bugs that they can fix at a later date. Maybe it's a little bug, but it's going to take a lot of work to fix. Push it out. It's a game-breaking bug. You got to fix it now before the game launches. And that's what they're doing. Weird. This is so weird. So I'm hoping that this is just a sign of things to come. People are really upset about the add-on apocalypse, and they're like, oh no, we're losing all of our add-ons. Actually, it might not be that bad. This might be the best thing that ever happened to World of Warcraft after Classic. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm really positive. You can call me a Blizzard shill if you want, but I'm super excited. And I think Blizzard's doing a great job with Midnight and how they're getting all this set up. It's going to be clunky. We knew that going in. There's no way that it cannot be clunky to remove all add-ons and then try and build them back up internally. But I'm really excited about how they're doing this. And I think they're going to do a pretty good job. So is it going to be perfect? No. Is it going to be pretty good? Yeah. Is it going to be a shit show or a dumpster fire? Probably not, but you never know. But I'm going to stay positive and I'm going to hope that that's what we end up with. So, all right. The final thing that I wanted to mention here is that Blizzard have announced they're having some tie-ins with other Blizzard games with the launch of Player Housing. Player Housing officially launches in early access for players who have pre-purchased World of Warcraft Midnight, blah, blah, blah. To celebrate this milestone, game teams across Blizzard have joined forces to create a suite of unique rewards that unlock when players move into their first home and earn the new Welcome Home achievement in World of Warcraft. So basically, once you do housing, and I'm assuming that this is going to be live, it doesn't have an end date on here that I can see. So I guess this is just going to be something that happens forever. I don't know. Regardless, so there's 3 games that they have on here that they've highlighted that they're giving you rewards in. The first is StarCraft 2. You're going to get a skin for your console, your HUD in StarCraft 2, which I mean, it's cool and all, but I don't know. It's kind of a. It feels like a, hey, StarCraft 2 still exists, guys. Remember, we have this game. One is Alliance themed and one is Horde themed, but that's it. There's no like skins for, Raynor or anything like that. Kerrigan skins. And then Hearthstone, we have some housing themed rewards. So you get the Hearth and Home card back, and you get a Welcome to the Neighborhood, which is an earnable epic event card. So I don't play Hearthstone, but I guess that's what it is. But the big one that a lot of people are really excited about is the Symmetra skin for Overwatch 2 of Xal'atath. So yeah, you can reskin your Symmetra to look like Xal'atath. It actually looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, that's pretty cool. It's, given that Overwatch 2 has a very different vibe and art aesthetic than World of Warcraft, they did a pretty good job of putting Symmetra in there. If you don't play Overwatch, Symmetra is just a damage dealer. And yeah, I mean, I've never played Symmetra. That's not a character that I play. I usually try and play a tank in Overwatch, and I end up getting smashed. And people are like, why didn't you do whatever? And I'm like, because I don't know how to play this game. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty cool. I actually think that they've put into these tie-ins. Again, you don't have to do anything special for it other than get housing. And it might be just early access. I don't know. But regardless, I think most people are going to get housing early access because all you have to do is buy the game. If you don't pre-purchase the game, what's going to happen is the game's going to come out and then you're going to buy it. And then you're going to be basically behind because the game will have already launched at that point. Some people don't care about that, and that's fine. For someone like me, I can't not pre-purchase because I want to be there the instant it releases because that's just how I am. So, yeah, so there you go. That's what's coming for housing pre-purchase rewards in other Blizzard games. All right. Let's talk about what's going on this week in World of Warcraft, and then we'll get to our main topic of the week. All right. The bonus event for this week is the Battle for Azeroth Time Walking event. So if you're not busy doing Legion Remix, you can do Battle for Azeroth Time Walking. You'll get the Sign of Azeroth, which will increase Battle for Azeroth reputation gains from combat and quest by 50%. You can pick up the quest A Scarred Path Through Time from Archivist for Thrune and Dornogal. To defeat 5 Time Walking dungeons, it will be rewarded with a Champion Track raid item. The Hero Track raid items don't start till next week when we get Turbulent Timeways. So this week it's Champion Track, so that kind of stinks. But the dungeons are Atal Dazar, Freehold, King's Rest, Shrine of the Storm, Temple of Sethrillist, and Waycrest Manor. So there you go. Battle for Azeroth Time Walking. Check it out. You'll get it again in a few weeks. I forget when it is, but we're going to go through every single Time Walking and Shadowlands twice when we do the Turbulent Timeways. So you're going to be so sick of Time Walking, or maybe you won't do it at all. I don't know. But we'll talk about Turbulent Timeways next week because there's going to be some mountain rewards and things like that. So we'll get through all that. The PvP brawl for the week is Terran Mill versus South Shore. Originally introduced as part of the World of Warcraft 10-year anniversary event, this brawl harkens back to the early days of WoW PvP with an epic battle between the two towns of Terran Mill and South Shore. In this game of war, you'll need to work as a team and deplete your foe's resources to claim victory. Yeah, this is chaos. This one is literally just a brawl. You're just going back and forth between the two towns, fighting the guards. One team will get an advantage and start pushing, and then the other team will get closer to their graveyards and start pushing back. It's really fun. It's what we did back in the day when there was no battlegrounds. And I remember doing it as, I don't know, I was in my 40s, maybe level 40 something. You get into a group and you're running around, and there would be the level 60 group that was like the main group, and then there would be like the scrub group, where it was all the sub level 60s, and every now and then there wouldn't be enough level 60s to get in the level 60 group, so they'd bring in like a 53 or something, and I was like, oh, that guy's so cool, he got into the big group. Anyway, so this is just one group on each side where you go back and forth and fight each other. It's really fun. This one's fun. It's obviously very different now than it was back in the day, but yeah, it's a good time. So check out the PvP brawl. When you zone into the brawl, you'll get the quest Something Different to win a PvP brawl, and that will reward you with Conquest, Honor, and Marks of Honor. And then we have 2 ongoing events this week. We have the Pilgrim's Bounty, which will finish off on November 30th. It's just in a couple days. And the WoW's 21st anniversary, which will go through December 7th. So we have a little bit longer on that one. Again, like I said last week, the 21st anniversary event is not super exciting this year, but because it's the same event as the 20th anniversary, but with only one new reward. So if you got all the rewards last time, there's really not a lot for you to do this time around, but you can still go and answer trivia questions on your alts to get XP. There is an XP buff that you can get. Although if you're really worried about leveling up a new character, maybe just create a remix character, because you can level up in remix really fast. As soon as you get to level 80, you can take them out of remix and drop them in the real world and start doing your time walking or whatever, if that's what's important to you. So yeah, anyway, that's what's going on this week in WoW. It's kind of the calm before the storm. So all right, let's move on to the main topic of the week.
It's time for the main topic of the week.
So for this week's main topic, I wanted to do I had this idea because we were talking about Thanksgiving. A lot of families do this in America, but at Thanksgiving dinner, you sit down at the table and you're eating, and then the dad or the grandfather or somebody will say, all right, everyone go around the table and say one thing that you're thankful for, or tell us the things that you're thankful for. And everyone goes around and it's all these things like, oh, I'm so glad that you and mom haven't gotten a divorce yet because you guys hate each other. Or I'm so glad that grandma hasn't died yet. Yeah, stuff like that. So, and I don't want to joke. I mean, my family does it too. So, but it is a little corny. But I wanted to take this and put it into World of Warcraft. So my thought was I'm going to write a list of the things that I'm thankful for, the WoW edition. And this isn't an extensive list. This isn't everything. This is what I was just thinking about and the things that I'm thankful for that exist in some capacity. They're not always going to be things that maybe overall are a positive, maybe even to society, but I'm glad they exist in the form that they do, because it's good for me and it's helpful for me, or it makes me happy, or whatever it is. So let's just run through the list, and yeah, it is what it is. To start off, of course, I am thankful for World of Warcraft, because World of Warcraft is my favorite video game of all time. I've played a lot of video games over the years, and as I've gotten older and as I'm approaching the big 5-0, which will be next year, I'm becoming less and less inclined to try new games and more inclined to just play WoW and continue just enjoying the nostalgia trip that is World of Warcraft, because it reminds me of when I was in my 20s and I played this game for the first time and I thought, this is the coolest game ever. So World of Warcraft is a big part of my life. It's funny because my wife and I both play. We've both played since 2005. We've just, this game has been a big part of our life for a long time, almost as long as we've been together, because we got together in 2004. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't long afterwards that we started playing WoW, but yeah, it's to me, WoW is ingrained in the fabric of my life. I once did a spreadsheet where I showed or I was kind of keeping track of which jobs I've worked when, because it was like, well, when did I work that job? That was, what year was that? I did a spreadsheet and I put all of the jobs on there, the dates that I worked them, and I did like a whole timeline. And then overlaid on top of that, I had it show which WoW expansion was released when, so I could see, oh, that's right, I worked at that job when it was Cataclysm, or I worked at that job when it was Legion or whatever. So yeah, it's a big part of my life, and I do enjoy playing the game. I enjoy talking about the game. I enjoy reading about the game. I mean, it's just so much that this game means to me and is special in my life. So I'm very thankful for World of Warcraft. The next thing that I'm very thankful for is warbands, because holy moly, it took Blizzard 20 years to finally get us to the point where we can share things across our accounts smoothly and seamlessly. We have a warband bank, we have warbound until equipped gear, and yes, a lot of it's still gamified, and you know, we'll get things in there, it's like, oh, but that's not warbound. The new stuff, oh no, that's not warbound. Only the old stuff is warbound, or only the things you don't really care about are warbound. But still, having the ability to share things across characters, and warbands is the kind of the culmination of this, but we've had a long time of, if you remember playing WoW in the early days, when you first started playing WoW and you wanted to buy a mount, you had to go buy the mount, and your character had that mount in their inventory. So when they wanted to get on the mount, you had to click on it in your inventory, or you could drag it to your action bar, but still, it was something you had to carry around. And around, what was the Cataclysm, Mists of Pandaria, somewhere around there, Blizzard realized, hey, we could take all of your mounts and put them into a collection, and then all of your characters have access to all of the mounts you've ever purchased, which was a huge thing. And this is the type of thing that Blizzard have slowly been adding over the game as they realized people like playing alts. People like having extra characters that they can play and do things with, not just their character that they go play. I have many other characters besides Denethar, and in a lot of expansions, he's not even my main. He's just a character that I level up and do my jewel crafting stuff, and that's about it. So yeah, I'm really thankful that Blizzard have put so much time and effort into making the game alt friendly and something that we can do and not feel like you are obligated to continue doing these same things on each and every single character, because I do like to have a lot of characters. So as a certified alcoholic, oh wow, that was a Freudian slip. As a certified altaholic, thank you, Blizzard, for giving us warbands. The next one on the list, and I've talked about it already today, but transmog. Oh man, when we got transmog in what was that, 2010, 2011, something like that, it was the coolest thing ever, because starting in back in vanilla, in the original WoW, you could tell how cool somebody was by their armor, because if they had the cool set, they were cool. If they didn't have the cool set and they had some ragtag, or I recognize that from a dungeon or whatever, you're not that cool. The cool people have all the raid gear. And then we went to Outland, and everyone immediately put on a clown suit. Unless you had a full Nax tier 3 set, then you maybe kept that until level 70. But still, we all wore the clown suit at one point or another. It was terrible. We hated it. And it felt bad. It feels bad for your character to look bad. And it's something that for a lot of people, they don't care about transmog. They just care about number go up. And that's fine. But for me, transmog is such an integral part of the game now, and I can't enjoy playing my character if I don't have a good transmog. If I make a new alt, one of the first things that I do is I come up with their transmog. This is this character's transmog. And then I might wear it all the way, leveling from 1 to 80 or 10 to 80, or that might be something that they wear until they get to a certain milestone, and then they have to do something different. I've had characters who wear certain transmog depending on where they're leveling. Oh, this character is leveling through Burning Crusade. He's going to have a TBC authentic transmog. I've done that. I try not to make it too much of a clown suit, but you get the idea. It's like having the ability to do that. I can choose when and how my character is going to look. And I think that that's really important to the game. And I'm so thankful that Blizzard added that in, because I don't know that World of Warcraft would have the player base that it still does without transmog. I think they would have lost a lot of people. You certainly would have lost a lot of female players, because they don't want their characters to look ugly. And a lot of guy players too. You have some guy players who don't care, and that's fine. Whatever. But for the most part, I would say the majority of players, if you don't have the ability to make your character look cool, then what's the point? What are you doing? All right, this one's going to be a little controversial because some people don't like this. I'm very thankful for flying mounts, and not just skywriting, okay? But the ability for your character to fly around is one of the coolest things that Blizzard ever added to the game. Yes, it changed the dynamic of the end game, and we can no longer have true world PvP because everyone's just flying around. Well, I don't really care about true world PvP. I care about being able to get from point A to point B easily. And so having a flying mount is one of the coolest things that Blizzard could have given us, because they could have given us faster ground mounts, and I think that would have been a disaster. We saw how bad that was in Undermine, where we had these really fast ground mounts, and what did we do? We crashed everywhere. And everyone said, I'm so glad that this isn't what we ended up with as far as the mount system goes, because this is terrible. And it was awful. So is flying mounts the perfect solution for World of Warcraft? No, it's not. There's a lot of things that Blizzard have had to work around and adjust and fix to accommodate for the fact that there are flying mounts in the game. One of the things that even in the Burning Crusade, this changed, but back in original vanilla WoW, there's a sense of going from point A to point B. You go through areas where there's nothing. Not like, oh, there's some shrubbery and then there's a quest hub over it. No, you could go across an entire zone and see no NPCs other than the mobs that you're fighting. No quest givers, no flight masters, no repair, nothing. You could run across a whole zone and not see that until you get to the other side of the zone. That's just how it goes sometimes in vanilla. But in later versions of the game, because of flying, they had to put these things all over the zone, because otherwise you'll just fly across the zone and not see any of that stuff in the middle. So yeah, you put a quest hub here and put a quest hub here and put a quest hub here. That way people will go to them, even if they have flying mounts. And so it did change the design of the game a little bit. And for that, I'm slightly sad, but it's worth the convenience of being able to fly around in the game. Okay, next up is the lore of World of Warcraft. I'll tell you right now, one of the things that keeps me coming back to this game is the lore. I will go through WoW, what is it now? Warcraft Wiki, I think, is the current one. They keep changing the WoW Wiki name. I think it's Warcraft Wiki .gg. But the lore in the game, and yes, we've had 1,000,001 retcons over the years. That's fine with me. I'm okay with retcons as long as there is some sense to it. The most famous, of course, being the Draenei, and I thought, you know what? I'm okay with that one. That's a good retcon. There are some like trying to insert the jailer into every single thing that ever happened in World of Warcraft. Maybe I didn't like that one as much. We can just ignore the whole Helm of Domination thing, but it did happen, and Blizzard put it in there, so okay, so it's there, but I don't like it, and that's okay. But for the most part, the lore itself has been good. I'll go back and I'll read about the War of the Ancients, or Egwene battling the Avatar of Sargeras, or the War of the Three Hammers, and I really enjoy going through the lore. It's one of the reasons why I love listening to the Live Laugh Lore podcast with Jen and Allie. That's a great podcast. They're great at the lore. I also really like Lore Watch, which is a Blizzard Watch podcast. That's another great one. That's Matt and Joe. I'll tell you, I love these lore podcasts for a reason. And sometimes they get a little deeper than even I'm prepared for, and sometimes they verge into other IPs, and that's okay, because if we start talking about WoW and then we end up talking about Warhammer 40k for an hour, I'm okay with that, because the lore is interesting, but I love the WoW lore the most. It is so good. To me, World of Warcraft lore has matured and expanded to the point where I feel that you could genuinely do a real movie or TV show based on World of Warcraft characters. You don't need to do the story of the games. There's so much flavor in the lore of World of Warcraft. You could make an entire series and never once touch a main character. I have long held that instead of doing a movie, what Blizzard should do is they should do a TV series similar to the Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine, and that would be a really good way to do. Just pick a random group of adventurers, 5 people, right? See where I'm going with this? And every week they do a different dungeon. And maybe you have 2 groups. You have one Horde group and you have one Alliance group. And the Horde group does Wailing Caverns and the Alliance group does the Dead Mines. And of course, it's not like running a dungeon in WoW. You have to embellish it. They show up at the inn and there's this whole drama. And now we've got to go figure out where all these Defias are coming from, or why is there so much... what is the whole thing with the skull and the side of the mountain, right? You tell a story. You introduce us to these characters, you level up with the characters, right? You get them going. They travel to Outland. They travel to Northrend. That's a way to do a TV show. And you make the characters interesting. You create those connections with the characters that is really fun. That's only possible because the Warcraft lore is so rich and so dense. And there's a ton of it out there. If you tried to do that with other things, it wouldn't really work. It wouldn't make sense. I think that the Warcraft lore is probably some of the best fantasy lore out there today, just overall. I would take, in a lot of ways, Warcraft lore over something like A Song of Ice and Fire. The only thing that, to me, in the fantasy genre that trumps the World of Warcraft lore is, of course, Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is by far anything Tolkien related. He went into so much detail and put so much energy and attention into it. It's really hard to put anything above that. Tolkien created modern fantasy. We wouldn't have orcs and elves and dwarves and all these things if it weren't for Tolkien. So you give him that credit, and that is the best. But I would put World of Warcraft or Warcraft lore right below that. So are there still flaws with it? Yes. Are there flaws with Tolkien's lore? Yes. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. It means that there's holes to be filled up. And yeah, some of them might be retcons, but it's okay. You get an interesting author who can write some of these stories down, and there you go. There's a whole new story that filled up that hole that was a problem before. So, all right, we're going to get a little bit bigger in our scope here and look at things, maybe some outside of World of Warcraft or just in general. I'm very thankful for YouTube, because I'll tell you right now, YouTube is one of those things that, with regards to World of Warcraft, I'm able to get so much information from a YouTube video. People don't want to... Writing an article for World of Warcraft, that was a thing that was really big at the beginning of WoW. There was guides, there was articles written, there was a lot going on. You could sit and read this stuff for hours. I can't read like I used to. And maybe some of that is because of YouTube, but a lot of it is because I have bad eyes, I need reading glasses because I'm getting older. And so it's easy for me to just watch a YouTube video. It's 6 minutes long. It tells me everything I need to know. I don't need to sit down with a paper and read and, listen to the dogs barking and, all the goings on in the house. I can just watch a quick video. I can even watch it on my phone. And I'm also grateful that I'm able to put content on YouTube. It's not always successful. It's not always seen by a lot of people, and that's okay, because it gives me a outlet for my creative desires. I want to do something. I want to be creative with something. I can put it out there, and the people who enjoy it, I'm happy that they enjoyed it. And the people who don't, that's okay. Do I wish more people saw my content? Sure. Yeah, that'd be great. But I don't really care one way or the other. At the end of the day, I'm doing it for myself so I can be creative and put that stuff out there. And yeah, it's nice to get the thumbs up from somebody who goes, hey, that was pretty cool. That's great. Or, hey, I really enjoyed your podcast video. Great. Thank you. But more than anything, I'm just happy that it's there to give us an outlet. Could you imagine a world without YouTube? I mean, we used to live that. I remember sitting in my office in 1999 in, I don't know, whatever it was, February, March, I don't remember when it came out, but when the trailer for The Phantom Menace launched, and it was available, you could download it from various places. It was like an MOV file or something, a QuickTime movie file, right? And so we were scouring all of these different sites trying to figure out where can we download this trailer, because we all wanted to watch it. So finally somebody got it, we downloaded it, and we put it up on one of the computers in the office, and there goes Star Wars, and we were all so happy. And then we saw the movie. And look, as an aside, I feel like The Phantom Menace is one of those movies that's aged incredibly well. Yes, there are still some bad segments. The whole Jar Jar thing, some of the politics starts to drone on, and you're like, okay, are we going to get there? But overall, the story is really good. So just an aside. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with YouTube. And I'm really pleased that we have one central source. Yeah, and again, YouTube has its problems. The whole copyright thing is problematic. I did a video last year sometime where it was my top 10 WoW music videos of all time. And two of my favorites I could not include because they had music in there that was blockers. So blockers in YouTube is people who, they won't let you use their content. Some bands and some artists will let you use their music as long as you don't get paid for it. They get paid for it, and that's fine. I don't care. I'm not monetized on YouTube anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. But there are some artists who block their songs from being on YouTube, and that's unfortunate because, like I said, there was two of the videos that I really liked. I wanted to include, I couldn't. So that's a problem. But aside from that, I think overall YouTube is a good thing because it gives us one central place to go and get all of our video content. We can watch all of these YouTubers, WoW streamers, WoW content creators who put stuff out there, and some of them put a lot of effort into this. Think about someone like Platinum WoW who puts out his YouTube videos, or Jedi Warlock. I would watch that and go, this is entertaining. This could be a TV series. 20 years ago, this would have been a TV series, but it's not. It's a YouTube series. So, hey, I'm happy with that. And also all the cooking videos. Come on. Who doesn't want to learn how to cook? All right, the next one, again, this one's a little weird. And personally, this is really difficult for me. But I'm grateful and thankful for Apple because they popularized the podcast format, something that I wouldn't be here doing this right now if it weren't for Apple. I'd say probably 70% of my podcast downloads come from Apple Podcasts still at this point. So I'm very thankful that Apple has continued to support the podcast and continues to push that out there, even though it's quickly becoming a secondary communication medium. Unless you're one of the big top dogs in whatever your field is, podcasts are not what they used to be. But you can still get out there and anybody can record a podcast. You today, right now, you could get a podcast. You could go to Spotify, you could go to wherever, create your own podcast and upload it, and it'll go to all the different podcast platforms. You could do it. And that's only possible because Apple popularized it so much that it's now considered just part of the thing. Podcasts comes from the iPod. So they literally named the format. They didn't create it, but they popularized that name for what became the podcast. So thank you, Apple, even though I hate you as a company. I think you're a terrible company. And again, speaking of terrible companies, let's talk about Twitch. I'm thankful for Twitch existing. And while, yes, there are, again, it's a little problematic. Overall, there's a lot of really good things to come from Twitch. And I think Twitch has really grown a lot of games, and not just World of Warcraft, but all sorts of different games. But for me, as a World of Warcraft fan and player, I'm really happy with the way that Twitch has treated World of Warcraft, because it's never treated it like, oh, you suck, nobody wants to watch WoW Twitch streams anymore. Yeah, it's not the most popular thing, but it still treats it with some respect. And all right, here's your WoW corner of all your WoW streams. I'm fine with that. And I think it's given rise to a lot of really good content creators over the years that probably wouldn't have had a chance if they had been trying to do this some other way. So, if you're trying to make videos and edit them and record them and upload them on YouTube, and you don't have it, Twitch doesn't exist, that's a much taller order than if you can just stream something on Twitch. And if you're entertaining, people will watch, even if you've got, you have to pause to go to the bathroom, or you've got a bunch of ums and uhs. It doesn't matter. People will watch. If you're entertaining, they'll watch. So from that standpoint, I'm thankful for Twitch for giving us so many good content creators, and for, basically just allowing WoW to continue to grow it's not just an esport, but just in general. So, and also all the hardcore death clips. Oh my gosh, it's so good. All right. This one again, I don't think anyone's gonna criticize this call here, but I'd like to thank the Blizzard voice actors who do such a great job on the cinematics, on the quests, on just so many different aspects of the game. And in particular, my favorites are Chris Metzen and Patty Mattson, which Chris Metzen is, famously the voice of Thrall. He also did Varian Wrynn and a couple of other characters. And Patty Mattson, the just iconic voice of Sylvanas Windrunner. Love her or hate her as a character, Sylvanas is an interesting character. And while Blizzard tried to ruin her in Shadowlands and Battle for Azeroth, she's still an interesting character. And Patty Mattson's voice has a lot to do with that. So Blizzard has done a great job over the years of hiring really talented, quality voice actors. And some of them have stayed for a long time. Laura Bailey, I think, who does the voice for Jaina Proudmoore. She's fantastic. She's a great voice actress. There's been so many over the years. There was, I researched this a while back, and I've talked about this before on the podcast, but the original voice actor for Nosdormu in Cataclysm, in the, whichever one, End Time Dungeon, I think it was, Mirzon, was Martin Sheen, actor. He's a famous Hollywood actor, and he did the voice for Nosdormu. Blizzard had a big get, and they brought him in, he did the voice. So many good voice actors. I don't want to go through and name a bunch because you might not know who they are, but regardless, Blizzard does a really good job with the voice acting. And that's something that they've always been really strong at, is bringing in good voice actors who can convey the emotion and give the character true life and feeling. So yeah, that's where we'll go there. The other side of that, of course, the Blizzard, their music department always hits the nail right on the head. Their music is so good. Even the Undermine, which I didn't really love the zone. At first I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I was like, no, not really. The music was so good. That jazz kind of vibe to it. I really loved the Undermine music. So Blizzard's music department has always been really good. So from that standpoint, I'm really thankful. And I'm happy that we're able to enjoy such a variety of music and feelings and vibes. I'll sit and listen to to WoW music to fall asleep. I'm sure a lot of people do. It's something that I'll put on Ashlee music loop for an hour and just go to sleep because it's peaceful. It calms me. It makes me feel good. So that's only possible because of the talented musical artists that work for Blizzard. And finally, I've got to thank my family. So my beautiful wife, who's been very supportive of the podcast, my children, who maybe they don't listen to it, but they they think it's cool that I do a podcast, and my parents, my in-laws, who are also very supportive, and my WoW family, which, I just listened to the most recent episode of Solo Queue, and I got my response back from my little monologue last week talking about Dave Gagne and how I'm so pleased to be part of his family, and he had his response back on his show. So we just have our back and forth going. But my WoW family and friends that I've made over the years in game, and the people who I've met through doing this podcast, I'm very thankful for all of that, because it, as human beings, I feel like we all crave some sort of validation. And even if that validation is, hey, somebody cares about you or somebody likes you as a person, that's sometimes all the validation you need. And so knowing that I have people who listen to the show and who actually care what I have to say and maybe find me entertaining or laughed because I did a bit or whatever it is, I'm thankful. I'm so thankful and fortunate that I'm able to do this and that I'm able to enjoy having such a cool thing that I do on the side. And it's just, I don't know, it makes me happy. So thank you all so much for supporting Azeroth United for these 2 years that I've been doing it. I hope to be doing it for another 10 years. Who knows? We'll see. So, all right. That's going to wrap up our show for today. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. I just thanked you, but thank you again. It really is a pleasure and a privilege for me to get on this microphone and speak to you. I wanted to say I've really been so pleased at all of the feedback that's been coming in recently. We did get another Apple Podcast review. This one came from Total Tunt from the UK. And Total Tunt says, my favorite WoW podcast. Been listening since the release. Great podcast with good takes on topics. Love that the episodes have been longer than when the show first started. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm glad you've been listening from the beginning, and I'm hope to continue to grow and to get better as a podcaster and a host. So thank you so much, Total Tunt, for your review. It really means a lot to me. As I've always said, this is one of the best ways to get the podcast more recognition by Apple and by Spotify. So if you are able to and willing to leave a review, that would really help out the distribution. So thank you again for that. If you are watching this on YouTube, a way that you could help out is by leaving a like and a subscribe and a comment there. That really helps out too from the YouTube standpoint. It doesn't help out with the podcast downloads, but it does make a difference in terms of the YouTube algorithm and getting more people involved in the show. And so yeah, there's different ways that you can support, and I appreciate any of those that you're willing to do. So if you want to get hold of me directly, you can reach me at Denethar on Twitter and Blue Sky, primarily on Twitter, even though I hate Twitter, but that is the better place to get news and updates about World of Warcraft. So that's where I live, at least in that sphere. I'm on Reddit too, but don't reach out to me on Reddit. That's a terrible way to get a hold of me. Reddit's just a cesspool of awfulness, but I check Reddit every single day. So maybe that is a good place to get a hold of me. I don't know. Yeah. So if you want to get a hold of me, you can reach me on Twitter, Blue Sky, at Denethar on both of those platforms. If you want to check out our Discord, you can join our Discord by going to AzerothUnitedPod.com. That will get you to the website where we have links to the Discord, all the different social media, Spotify, all the different things. It has the latest episode will show up on there and all that. The other way that you can help us out, if you are interested in doing so, is by joining our Patreon. Patreon is where people can give their IRL money to help out with the production costs on the show. And it's always really nice to have people who are, again, willing to contribute their real money. I mean, that's like real money. Like, what? It's a little weird and it's a little surreal, but I'm very thankful and appreciative of all of you who have done that. I wanted to thank our friend of the show patrons. These are our top tier of patrons. That's Judge Omni, Stuglife, Thelial, Greybeard, Raven, and Macus. Thank you all so much. Really do appreciate it. And I think that's going to wrap everything up. So the Patreon, I was looking into it because my wife keeps telling me, "Oh, you should do bonus content." And I don't really know how I feel about doing bonus content, but I'm considering doing some bonus content. And if anybody's interested in that, what I'm probably going to do is I will create a new tier of patron that is going to be one step above friend of the show that will have access to all the bonus content. If it's something that people, I'll make it available to everyone to start off to see if people even like it. But if you want bonus content, basically, if I'm going to be spending more time doing it and people like it, she's going to want to return on the investment. So I have to increase the Patreon tier level. Anyway, we'll see. I don't know. I might not end up doing that. That's like I've always said, that Patreon is not about making money. It's about just, adding to the support for the different equipment and the different services that I use for the podcast. So, I could pay for the whole thing. And, I'm not going to lose my house because I bought a new microphone for my podcast. But it is nice to not have to stress as much about how much money I'm spending on things because I know I'm getting the Patreon money coming in. So that's really why I do that, because it helps me put back into the podcast. I'm not pocketing any of this money. Everything that I get from Patreon goes right back into the podcast. So we'll see. I don't know. I might do that. I might not. Who knows? You might never hear of it again. But yeah, that was kind of an idea that she floated around that I should do bonus content. And I told her that there's another pod, Do Not Relent, does their After Dark episode, and I said, well, maybe I could do something like that. Although it would be weird for me to just be drunk on a microphone and talk to you guys. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's all I got there. So thank you again for listening, and I really do appreciate it. Remember to be good to each other out there. That's a real person on the other side of that keyboard, and they're thankful for their things, and you're thankful for yours. And even if there's no overlap, that's okay, because it's a person. You can be nice, and it's okay to just smile and nod and just be friendly. So, all right, take care. I love you all, and I'll see you in Azeroth.